Good day, everyone. Okay, so this is the last segment of this series of education in Africa. This can be a very long topic, but we are just trying to compress everything to fit into 10 minutes, right? Okay, so now after independence in different countries, obviously, yes, we need to acknowledge that countries received their independence in different years. Ghana in 1963, Zimbabwe 1980, South Africa 1994, right? So countries received their independence in different ways, right? So after independence, the education system continued as it was during colonization in terms of the curriculum, in terms of the teaching methods, in terms of the teaching strategies, in terms of the topics that were being taught. Nothing changed. What changed was more black kids could go to school now. Black kids could also go to schools that were only for whites during colonization, right? So that was the upside or the positive of it, right? But the curriculum never really switched back to try to encourage the black child to harness their own natural resources. Every black child was having a dream, or even now those who are going to school, most of them, the dream is, I want to be a doctor, I want to be an accountant, I want to be a nurse, I want to be an engineer, I want to be a teacher, I want to be an actual scientist. No problem with that. But these are all beautiful dreams. But very few are really focusing about ownership. Could yes, I'll be an accountant, but I want to own my own accounting firm. I want to be an engineer, but I want to own my own mining company. Yes, I want to be a doctor, but I want to own my own surgery. I want to be a teacher, but I want to own my own school. I want to be a baker, but I want to own my own bakery. Why? Because the curriculum that we are following does not motivate the African child to be an entrepreneur, to be owners of the economy. It nurtures us to compete for jobs. It nurtures us to scramble for jobs, right? To be the best in an interview, to be the best in class. But the problem that is arising is this. We are having a lot of problems in the community. I can give an example, load shedding. Right. Load shedding is a crisis in Southern Africa. Water rationing, it's a crisis in Southern Africa. Right now I can ask, how many people, right, are having clean tap water from their taps? Very few. Others don't even have the water on the tap at all. Not only for months, but for years. So my point is, if the education system is working, why don't we have tap water coming from the taps? If the education system is working, why is that people don't feel safe of drinking the tap water that is coming from our taps? But we are producing engineers every year. Thousands of engineers every year. Graduations happen, you see pictures on social media, beautiful pictures. But what are these kids learning at school? That after 5 years as an engineer, after 20 years as an engineer, right? Or after 20 years of independence by a country producing engineers every year, still we don't have clean water. How can you explain that? Still, we don't have enough power, we still have load shedding. How do we explain that? So is the education really working? Yes, there are lots of benefits that education is brought to us. But I strongly believe that there are some areas that needs to be looked at so that we don't waste people's time in schools only to come out of the corridors or the walls of universities, schools, TVTs, polytechnics, only with papers and gowns and hats. People should come out of these institutions with tangible, valuable skills that are visible, that are non-deniable in the economic productivity of Southern Africa, of Africa and the world. Okay, let's move on. Right. So, another simple example, if you open a grade 4-5 natural science book in any part in Africa, right, mainly sub-Saharan Africa, just open any grade 4, 5, 6, right, of natural science and technology. The topics that will be dominating there, you find frogs, parts of grasshoppers, learning about grasshoppers, learning about frogs. What economic value will frogs give us? What economic value will grasshoppers give us? It's not as if we are learning how to prevent grasshoppers from eating our crops. No. It's just parts of a grasshopper. That's it. Life cycle of a grasshopper, life cycle of a frog. That's it. But this is a child in Botswana where there's diamond. This is a child in Zimbabwe along the Great Dyke where there's diamond, copper, zinc, nickel, gold. This is a child in South Africa, Northwest today, rich in what? In gold, diamond, Limpopo, and platinum in Limpopo, and many other parts. So my question is, why are we teaching this child about grasshoppers and frogs, but we don't teach this child about the natural resources surrounding him? Where this child is sleeping, there is diamond underground, there is gold underground. Wealth that can transform not only his family, not only his society, not only his town or her town, but the whole country, the whole continent. But you teach them about grasshoppers and frogs. I think it's it's educational injustice. So I plead with the policymakers in education across Africa. You are letting Africa down. You are letting Africa down. These are things that need urgent attention. Someone in a rich province in terms of minerals, they go to school for more than 10 years, but they've never really learned how to identify the minerals, how to mine them, how to process them. When they are done with education, the creme de la creme, the few ones, are the ones that will get jobs at these big multinational companies that are mining the gold, that are mining the diamond, that are mining the platinum. The rest, you have to look for jobs somewhere else. How about if there is a platform to equip the locals to do mining in a proper way? When they are done with their academics in their TVTs and their universities, they can team up to form cooperatives funded by the government, funded by the private sector, and start their own mining. Not in the way it is being done with the Zama Zama thing, with the Koza thing. Right? There's too much violence there. But this can be structured that when the mining is done, the gold is processed, or the platinum is processed, whatever it is processed, and the government generates revenue through tax, and lives can be changed. As long as we ignore the economic pillars that were there before colonization, which is mining, farming, hunting, and trade, it's going to be difficult for the African child to be empowered. You cannot empower someone but ignoring the natural resources that surround them. Now, so as long as the education is not training us to process our minerals, to add value on our minerals and our produce, we are in for a high jump. We are moving in circles as Africa. It will be difficult for us to eliminate poverty in Africa as long as we are doing that. Right? Mining, farming, hunting, trade. So all these things should be done, incorporating them with modern forms of what? Of technology that is there. Right? But unfortunately, it seems as if the African child is just comfortable to be a worker. But I don't blame the African child here. It's the education system. It does not motivate the African child to be an entrepreneur, to own the economy. So parents, we also need to learn from the Indians, from the Chinese. So share your thoughts, right? What can be done to produce productive, educated Africans from schools, from TVTs, from universities? People that are productive in the economy. People who come up with solutions to the real life problems that Africa is facing. Poor sanitation, waste sewer pipes, dirty tap water, unavailability of tap water, load shedding, congestion, overcrowding, poverty, climate change, gender-based violence, crime and corruption. The list is just endless. It seems as if the rate of crime is even going up and up and up. Funny enough, we're having more graduates every year. More people are going to school. The pass rates are increasing if you look at statistics. But unfortunately, the problems that the African child is facing are multiplying at an alarming rate. So what are your thoughts? What can be done to redesign the education system? Because I believe if the education is sorted, what the African child is learning in school, if it's sorted, 90% of our problems are gone. We'll be left with many things to do with morality, not inability or lack of skills and failure to utilize opportunities or resources that are surrounding us. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Luke. Thank you.